Warning.
Watch very closely now. 3, 2, 1. Bzow! Check that out.
The following podcast features terrible jokes.
Did you know you can use Hot Wheels cars when you need to make a saving throw in D&D? Every car is die-cast.
Usually about board games.
We want the fun. Gotta have that fun.
Must insist that no one attempt to recreate any joke performed on this podcast.
We had less technical issues than $1 million company.
All right!
This is Boards and Swords.
Welcome to Boards and Swords. This is a podcast about bad jokes, good folks, and some tabletop games. I'm one of your hosts. My name's Chris Renshaw. I'm going to flip it right here. We've got some other people with us here today. As always, down in the bottom over there is my partner in crime, Mr. Philip Herbig. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on? That's right. I may be in the bottom, but I'm not a bottom. That I'm aware of.
And then up in the corner, we've got our guest with us this week, which is Ian from Floodgate Games. How are you doing, sir?
I'm great. I feel like I need to make a Switch joke now or something. We'll move on.
So, for those that may not be familiar, what is Floodgate Games and some of the more popular games that somebody may have heard of? And be like, oh, that's that company.
No, those are those guys. We're the Sagrada guys. So if you've been in the board game, hobby for the better part of the last 10 years, Sagrada came out in 2016, 2017. And it's a game of dice drafting and window crafting. So you're taking these colorful translucent dice and making a stained glass window. So it's dice drafting and dice placement. It's this nice little puzzle. Stained glass Sudoku is how we've described it sometimes to people. So that's one of our. You've not heard that term before?
No, I've not heard it described that way, but it fits.
Yeah, and we were very recently. I was playing a bunch of different solo variants for some future work we're doing on the game, and it felt very, very much like that. Just kind of sitting down, doing the morning crossword or Sudoku puzzle or whatever.
Gotcha.
Most recently, we have some cool party games that we come out with. Kites is more of a family weight game than it is a party game. But that's a real-time cooperative game where you're playing cards and flipping sand timers. You don't want to let any of the sand timers run out. If any of them run out, we all lose. If you play through all the cards, we all win. What I love about this game is I can teach somebody in less than 30 seconds without any words.
Those are great.
We're demoing this at a convention, and somebody comes up to the table. It's a frantic game. We're all standing. We're playing the game. I can just hand them a hand of cards, and then they just watch it go around. And by the time it gets to them, they understand the game, the flow of the game.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So that's really good. It came out about a year ago. It's doing really well for us, and we recently came out with Everything Ever, which is free-form categories. It's a game you can play at a pub or on a road trip. It's a trivia game for people who don't like trivia games. So it's a secret trivia game in a party game box.
Nice.
Yeah, and you can be behind you there. That's a really great one. We've got a bunch of titles. We recently acquired the Blitzkrieg line of games, so Blitzkrieg and Caesar, and there's a third one, Dogfight, which I sent mine to a reviewer, so I need to get my own copy of it again. I have a embarrassingly low number of our own titles on my shelf behind me. I should fix that.
I mean, that just means that they're going out to other people.
Sure. We'll lean into me doing my job properly. These were originally published by PSC Games, but we really liked the designs of them, and something that's kind of important to Floodgate Games is no matter how many players in a game, it needs to be good at 2 players. Kind of the 2-player experience is forefront in all the designs. And these are 2-player only games. These are just head-to-head 2-player games. It was a bit of a departure from the brand's previous titles, but we felt that it fit within the the Venn diagram where we wanted to stretch the catalog to be.
You
So
don't
we've got a lot
say.
of really cool,
I
exciting
can't
titles.
I can't imagine that the people that make Fog of Love are focused that try and make the 2-player experience important.
That's a pretty big one too. Decorum is my favorite game that we make. This one right here. This is a game where you're redecorating a house together, and it's a hidden information cooperative puzzle. So you each have private objectives for how you want the house to be decorated. Maybe you want no blue rooms in the house or no lamps on the main floor or something like that, right? But you can't tell each other what your objectives are. So the only thing you do on your turn is make a change to the house, like take something out, put something in, repaint a wall, etc. And the other person can only let you know how that makes them feel. I love it. I hate it. That's fine. Or that's the worst thing you've ever done. Why do you keep putting that stupid lamp there? Right? Some sort of response that gives the other player a clue as to what they like or don't like about the house. And the goal is to solve the puzzle without fully sharing that information when you're both happy with the way the house works. So if I put like a blue lamp in the bathroom, you need to think, do you not want lamps in the bathroom? No lamps upstairs, no blue things in the bathroom. You're slowly narrowing it down, all the different ways these things combine with each other to figure out how to best solve that puzzle so you can both be happy in the house. It's a game of passive aggressive cohabitation.
I was gonna say I do love that tagline on the box there.
All right, well,
We're Minnesotans, so we do passive aggressive pretty well.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it's like the little bit of the passive is the Canada relation, and then the aggression is the America. But we're gonna get back to talking about some Floodgate games. But first, we've got some news. All
Yeah, I
right.
didn't put that button on there.
Yeah, and I don't have it set up here. So, all right. First off, if you have a plastic dinosaur you play with, is that a Toy-Saurus?
Oh.
So, WHP Global launches.
He warned me that there were bad puns.
It's in
these.
the
Oh, I mean,
tagline.
Bad
I
does
did
not explain it.
I did not set the floor low enough.
Launches new
I'm ready
Toys R
now,
Us
though. Go.
stores. So WHP Global is the parent basically the people that own the rights to Toys R Us. They've partnered with Go Retail Group, which I believe that's the people that have the calendars. They have like the little shops that like set up in malls, like wherever there's an empty store, like around Christmas time, whenever you need a new calendar, and then like leave.
Oh, I was thinking Spirit for a second, but that's Halloween.
Yeah. Sometimes
I
they
pop into
last.
that calendar store once a year.
Yeah.
Look around, decide that I don't need a calendar, and then leave, and eventually find one in February at Goodwill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, since '93, Go to Retail Group has run the largest fleet of pop-up stores in the world. That's kind of surprising compared to Spirit. The new stores will be located at prime locations that complement the Toys R Us shops found in Macy's stores. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, they have little like side alcoves in the Macy's stores. I was at the Mall of America like a month or so ago. Toys R Us.
That would be the place to do it, and offer customers the hottest toys on the market. I mean, I feel like that's like the way to do Toys R Us these days. Like I mean, granted, there's if you look into like the history of it, it's probably one of those things. I saw a lot of stories when they first went bankrupt, or recently went bankrupt, that talking about like there was kind of, it might have even been this equity group kind of bought them and like ran them into the ground just for various reasons. So who knows if that kind of store could still be profitable, but it seems like in this day and age that having just a smaller location where you can throw the brand name is probably the better way of going these days. Oh, and on cruise ships and airports, apparently, also.
Airports makes a lot of sense.
Airports does make sense.
Yeah.
Cruise ships, maybe. I mean, you're stuck to take.
Yeah.
So
The kid won't shut up quick. We got to go to Toys R Us and get a new toy.
Yeah.
You're stuck there for a week. You're gonna get a flu bug. You're gonna be stuck to your room anyway. Get a toy.
Might as well, Get that new Gundam model and put it together.
There you go.
Some new
Is
Legos.
Toys R Us associated with? Do you guys remember KB Toys?
Yeah.
Oh
No,
yeah,
I think those were rivals.
they
Were they
were.
rivals?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I was
definitely
Team
remember.
KB, I guess.
For me, it was like KB Toys was the more expensive. I feel like it was always more. It always cost more at KB
Were they
Toys.
more expensive? I always thought that I grew up too poor to be a Toys R Us kid. Like I wanted
remember
to
going
grow
into
up so I could afford to be a Toys R Us kid, but then they
I
ran
remember
out of
going
business.
into KB Toys. I got those the like skeleton and the alien extra like exoskeleton hands.
Oh yeah,
Those were kind of cool. Yeah.
yeah. I don't remember. Like we had one that was about like we had like the mall and the Toys R Us were like the same distance, and I always remember buying more stuff at the Toys R Us than I did at like the KB Toys for some reason.
And then you stopped going. They went away.
Well, the
Oh,
mall
man.
became not the greatest place to go to, and the Toys R Us closed down. So
Well,
Yeah.
it's those horrible millennial heartbreaking memes that we're seeing. It's like one day you and your friends went outside and played together for the last time. It's like, you know
oh,
what? Shut up.
oh. All right, Philip. We need to
Now
go
you can do
outside.
picnics in the park.
We need to go.
Exactly.
We
There
need
we
to go have a Nerf fight.
bro,
Time
bro.
and a place.
How long have you guys known each other?
Too long.
15 years at this
I
point.
just became a impromptu friendship counselor. We're gonna get right into it, guys.
All right. Moving along, I'm making a new game where you play as the manager of business that's been taken over by Cthulhu. It's called Eldritch Horror. Yes. I can do that now. Two-player RPG Eldritch.
My audio cut out. Can you say that again?
Do you really want me to? Two-player RPG Eldritch Escape Tokyo mixes Dark Souls deadliness and Attack on Titan's terrifying monsters in modern-day Japan. I always like finding weird RPGs and games and throwing them in here, and this was just kind of a neat kind of amalgamation of a bunch of different things. So, Eldritch Escape Tokyo throws players into a twisted version of the real-life Japanese capital, where the sun never rises in order to hunt gigantic creatures known as Eldritch. Unseen by most people in the game's world, the towering monsters, who appear as a mixture of different creatures, bring to mind the unsettling titans of Attack on Titan as they wander the streets eating humans and causing destruction. It's said to be directly inspired by the Soulsborne games, so like the Dark Souls and Bloodborne games. As everyday characters are expected to die multiple times as they attempt to fight the Eldritch. It's like every time
That's a fun idea.
every time I see these stories, I always think of like how would our group play this game? Where it's just I could see the it's like that the Darkness Rising where the gamer just keeps throwing the stack of sheets. It's like I hide behind the mound of my dead bodies. Like I don't think that was the
still set in the like traditional Arkham horror setting time, like the early.
They made it
20th
seem like it was
century,
more
or
modern day.
the more modern day.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Did you say something, Phil?
1900 to now, 1950 to now.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's definitely in the 1900s to now somewhere because there's like bridges and there's the this is Tokyo, so there's not the Golden Gate Bridge.
Well,
it looks like
it definitely like checked all the boxes for things that I find interesting.
yeah.
So, it's like Lovecraftian horror, cool. Souls games, I've spent way too many hours on those. I've beaten most of them, so there's that.
Modern day
Got,
role
like,
playing
300
game.
hours. Got like 300 hours into Elden Ring, and I still haven't beaten.
Oof.
I've got like 4 characters. Like I just need to go to the end game and finish that stuff.
Yeah, it's set in modern day Tokyo, where you play as an ordinary person hunting a giant monster. There's no heavy firepower, guns, or elite soldiers. The people risking their lives to fight the monsters were, just a little while ago, normal everyday people. The first time you play, you'll probably die almost instantly. Even after you get used to it, you'll probably die a lot, but that's okay.
Like normal everyday Japanese people.
Yeah. Well, I
Okay,
mean, like
all right.
everyday people, so probably.
Gotcha. Okay.
I would probably play as a white guy tourist
Yeah.
in Tokyo, just to be sure.
You'll have a partner that'll revive you each time the monster kills you. You'll be brought to back whether you want to come back or not. Oh, so it's like Destiny.
Oh, okay. It's like Destiny. You've got a ghost. That's great.
And as
Is
you
it going to
keep-
be like a? You remember Battlefield Friends?
No.
He just, as soon as he stands up and revives, down again.
It's pretty funny. So the aspect of like you're going to die, and I kind of thought it would be that you would then, how I would change. Speaking of changing the rules to games earlier, how I would change the way we play this is that each time you died and came back, you would come back with like Quantum Leap style, like with your
Into a
your
different person's
memories,
body.
but in a new person's body, that sort of thing.
I mean, it does say, and remember, after coming back to life so many times, there's no guarantee you'll be the same person you were before all this started.
Maybe that's in it.
There you go.
It sounds cool. I like it. The artwork's
That could be a mechanic. Your helper has to
ominous.
find you. You came back and your helper's like, ah, crap. Okay, so he shows up within 2 miles of me all the time.
Several wasted downtime sessions of leading the other players, and then just deciding to do something else instead of following your trail of breadcrumbs to find
All
the
right.
character.
I gotta leave this tab open because I may have to go find. I got the backer kit, but they don't actually have the actual link. So maybe I got to find that out later. All right,
Which one? Oh, this one? Okay.
moving on. You might say the winner of this next tournament was the Mr. Least Expected Person, and that is MrBeast. Apparently,
Those don't even qualify as puns.
$10,000 he won. The person that needed it the most. It's nice to see that it went
So
to
they're
it.
changing money for that guy.
Yeah, playing Dune Imperium. I love the caption here. Is the self-styled philanthropist currently embroiled in a burger lawsuit? Is that a pun there? Embroiled in a burger lawsuit?
That's a good one. That's
See, that one works. There we go.
Hey, I don't get
I bet
paid
you
for
wrote
this.
that one.
Can also apparently handle his spice.
Mm.
So apparently Direwolf helped co-host along with Jimmy MrBeast Donaldson, who's one of like the biggest YouTubers on the planet. Held in secret somewhere in Raleigh, my home state of Raleigh, North Carolina, and attended by select few high-achieving Dune Imperium players from around the world. So the final 4 combatants, Rob, Sneaker, Frank, I love these names, and MrBeast battled it out in a final 4-way match to decide the ultimate winner. MrBeast ended up victorious and donated his $10,000 winnings towards Direwolf's next Dune Imperium tournament.
Okay.
So yeah, the surprising nature of this was like the fact that they got, like in the grand scheme of things, like if this was Hasbro, I feel like this would make sense, like a really big company, but it seems like for that, like good up on Direwolf for, somebody was like, what if we just had MrBeast in a tournament? And someone's like, do it. And, what's the worst he can say? No, apparently.
Yeah.
And
But then it turns out he rocks at Dune Imperium.
yeah, that's the other weird part is like you helped host this tournament and then you ended up winning. That seems kind of fishy.
Yeah. Collusion.
That's as the kids say, that seems a little sus.
I'm trying to put myself in his shoes too. Like, do you throw it at the end? Like, do you be a kingmaker
And
Apparently
let somebody
not.
Yeah.
unless somebody else win? Yeah, and or do you go the decision that he made? I mean, that's why he has more money than me, I guess. Because that's the reason. That's the one right there.
Yeah. So apparently this is the upcoming Dune Imperium uprising. A photo with two
Okay.
other players holding the nice novelty checks.
Yep.
Mm.
Yep.
It's cool. I wonder if they're gonna do more of these. Because like the World Series of board games, like the World Series of poker that's held
Yeah.
every year in Las Vegas, that's getting
Oh, that'd
bigger.
be-
Each year that's gotten a little bigger.
That's something
Um,
I feel like that you do see like more game companies should just do with their own games and make a big deal out of it because there's always there's always a core fan base with any big popular game like that that'll
yeah, for sure.
they'll
Like
travel.
I used to work with Catan Studios.
Oh
And so
Jesus.
like they have the Catan World Championship every year, right?
Right.
And where everybody gets flown to wherever the creative director decides that year. We're gonna do it in Bora Bora this year. Or, we're gonna do it in Germany or Barcelona or whatever, wherever he wants the vacation to.
Wow.
No, I'm
That's
because I think they did the last one actually here in Minnesota. But they jump around the world for these. They're really cool, and like the winners of each country get like flown to these. And so like you get this board game that you see everywhere. I mean, anybody who's in the hobbies knows Catan, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and I bet most people don't know that they have a world champion where they will have 4 different countries on the last table, right? Playing, be like, Spain's here defending its title or something. Like it's crazy. It's really
Catan
cool.
becomes an Olympic sport.
right.
Well,
It's got to be played on what, 5 continents?
That would work.
And it does say
Munchkin.
we're donated as money.
World
to-
Series of Munchkin.
I was
World
sitting here
Series of
thinking.
Munchkin.
I was sitting here thinking. I was like, of all the games that should have, it's like if it doesn't exist, there should be, because there's those hardcore the people that like collect the bookmarks and the slap bracelets. Like this is gonna give me a +1, and this gives me a +2.
Yeah, Chris, we lost everything you just said.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it
Let's
happens.
hope it was the next pun.
Okay. This TCG retailer is hoping that a lot of its product magically disappears.
That was pretty good. I'll say that's the best one.
Troll and Toad backs off on Magic the Gathering. So we talked about last time where it was Cool Stuff, and hopefully there it goes. Cool Stuff Inc. was downsizing to just card games, and now we've got Troll and Toad is backing off from Magic the Gathering. Troll and Toad probably most famous from just being in the Gen Con coupon book. I feel like that's where I see them the most. Longtime troll.
Where are they located? Where were they
Uh,
located?
Let's see. I don't know if they say where they're located. Troll and Toad, which has been in operation since 1994, was one of the first large-scale buyers and sellers of Magic the Gathering cards. In October, they decided to stop purchasing Magic singles. Today, they will only take the next 2 rounds of Magic the Gathering sealed product. They're looking at running a sale in the near future to unload all their Magic singles and sealed product from their warehouse. Puts their almost 30-year relationship on ice.
in Kentucky.
Ah.
I haven't played Magic the Gathering since they started it as a business.
I would like every single sliver that they have.
Oh my god, slivers!
Yes.
Do they still do slivers?
I don't know that they've done one recently, but I've also
I remember that
been
was
paying-
in the Weather Deep cycle or something, right? Like around then,
I
when
have no
slivers
idea.
were first introduced, and I went crazy when I got my Sliver Queen. I don't want to get Andy Rooney on your listeners here, but there was a time when Magic the Gathering was new and fresh and exciting.
That's right.
It says on here that Magic was simply not as profitable as it once was for the company, and other TCG products such as Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, One Piece were doing much better. And the fact that there's a lot of people, I've been seeing a lot of buzz going around that just a lot of people are getting kind of tiffed at the way Hasbro's been doing Magic, where they're like only printing one set or like one copy of it, and then like if you don't get it, you don't get it, and then like not reprinting, and then they'll reprint stuff, random things into like the Commanders Masters or Modern Masters 3 Tokyo Drift or whatever.
And they've upped the release timing too, right? Like
For some
sets
things,
used
yeah,
to be
because they got like the
farther apart.
regular sets, and now they'll have like the Lord of the Rings and all those the Doctor Who ones on top of that.
Yeah,
That Lord of the
yeah.
Rings set almost got me back into it.
I know,
almost
right?
went out and bought a box. As soon as I saw that they had Bill the Pony and he provided food tokens, I was like, it got me.
Yeah, I just literally, I didn't plan it for it to be this way. I literally bought the 4-pack of the Doctor Who Commander decks on
Okay.
Amazon because I only wanted one or two, but they're going for like normal price, like retail price is like $65 a thing, and the one I want, which is the one that everybody apparently wants, is the 9th, 10th, and 11th Doctor. That one's like $100 all on its own. So it's like you can get all 4 of them for like $200. So I was like, I'll get all 4, sell the ones I don't want, and then
There you go.
it'll be about $50 a box. But am I gonna?
Doctor Who's a sci-fi show, right?
It goes back to that BBC conversation we had yesterday, Philip.
I guiltily have never watched a Doctor Who show.
That's fair.
I-
They got the Fallout one coming up next, and I don't give two craps about that.
I've meant to put it into my like viewing calendar or whatever. I just I don't know. It seems too surmountable of a hurdle to get started at this point with
It is.
all the lore background. It's been around forever.
You just have to kind of pick a spot and then start.
Pick a spot and
Just-
dive in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next time they refresh the Doctor, just jump in. Like it's all new to me.
Yeah. They're about to have the 60th 60-year was that hexennial? Is that what it is? Because it's like centennial is the 100. I don't know.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm just not really. I don't even know what terms to put into Google to try to search for that.
Yeah.
Listening to 3 men who either talk or write for a living, not knowing a word.
But I mean, a lot of people are miffed the way they're doing this. Getting back to the story with the magic stuff, but at the same time, like we were just talking about, all the new products does get other people. I think the problem is it's becoming less hardcore, and it's becoming more, or they're pandering more to casual players than they are hardcore. Maybe it's the better way to say that, and that's what people are having issue with.
Maybe, yeah.
Because they don't realize that most of the products bought by the casual people.
Yep. Oh yeah.
But on that same sentiment, the people like Troll and Toad, they're going to make their money off of people reselling singles, and that's going to be your hardcore. So I guess that kind of quick deduction might explain why they're not making as
Will
much
they be
money.
doing singles for other games? I mean, I guess
Yes.
Pokemon's collectible outside of the game.
Yeah, all those other
Then
TCGs.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
I mean, somebody's got to sell them. Especially you go to TCGseller.com. You can buy singles for everything.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, I'm here on Troll and Toad's website, and like Magic the Gathering, it's got their different categories, and then it says like all MTG singles, Yu-Gi-Oh, all Yu-Gi-Oh singles.
Oh yeah, I've seen that
So you can get them
especially
all.
at our local
I would
store.
like
There's
all
a lot
5
of
pieces
kids.
of Exodia.
Yeah,
Have
exactly.
you ever been in a game store when they get a new Magic set in and it's all hands on deck to crack packs, and you just see like 6 people sitting around a table just somberly?
I've been one of
opening
those 6 people.
booster packs. Yeah, have you?
Well, cause
I just go over and I just go and get the
Oh,
fresh
yeah.
pack open
oh yeah.
smell.
Well, I
and
literally
and then
I
that-
literally did
then I don't
that
have to buy any.
cuz no, that's I was at a store and I just wanted to buy some. I bought the D&D ones cuz I really want they sold me on the chance for the there's the land cards that are reprinted to look like old D&D adventures, And I was like, that's
Oh.
Oh, sure,
fantastic.
that's cool.
I was like, I need these. But yeah, I used to be one of those people. So, but not in a
I
like.
actually have a water painting of an island card up in my bedroom
Nice.
that I did in high school.
That's pretty cool.
It's like the one piece of art that I've made that I've kept. And that's because my mom framed it, and then I felt bad
Aw.
throwing the frame away. So I was like, all right. keep
Yeah,
it.
we yeah, I used to be what it used to be because I used to play when my stepdaughter was like growing up. We're talking like 8 or 9. Um, she quickly like I had gotten into Magic at that point. Like again, this was like second time around playing Magic, and she wanted to play, and so I taught her to play, and she actually picked it up. Like she wasn't super competitive, but she could play, and she won sometimes. Um, and it just got to the point that's what we did is we would like buy a booster box and then be there on release day and sit in the store and like divvy out packs and be going through them. So yeah, I was one of those people.
It's fun. That's cute. That's a cute tradition.
And then she went into middle school and didn't want anything to do with
I became cringe.
me. Yeah, pretty
Can
much.
cringe.
All right, one
Yeah,
last.
I tried teaching Magic to my daughter. She played Pokemon for a little bit. At we have a big game store nearby called The Source. They have a Pokemon group every Saturday. Plugged. Anyway. And then my favorite card game is Netrunner. So,
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
It's so good. It's the fact that it's not in publication still is a crime against.
It is, but it isn't.
Sure, Null Signal Games is doing great work. It's a community focused design team and development team, and they do events and they balance. They're doing a great job. Not to disparage anything that they're doing. Null Signal Games, good work. Like they just had a world championship for it too in Spain, I think, with 270 players.
It's amazing how
for a
much they've been
dead
able
game.
to
Yeah.
get that to
Well,
keep
I
that
mean,
thing
Netrunner
alive.
players are hardcore.
Oh
so,
Jesus.
Like, where always be running is like one of the taglines from it, right?
Yeah, I was.
You still find a game on Jinteki.net.
Yeah.
Every so often. I have a local group of guys. We still get together and play.
There's a local group right here that plays every now and then. Not as often as they used to, but they still do every now and then. And they have discussions buying all the new print on demand stuff. Yeah,
I'm proud of myself that I
just
waited this long to start talking about Netrunner. I'm patting myself on the back right now.
I tried. I loved that game, and it was one of the first big thematic games I played. I was like, this is amazing, but I just suck at it, so that's why I never could get like really into it.
Yeah.
Like I played it like 10 or 11 times, and the only time I won was against like a 11-year-old.
Crushed that 11-year-old though, I bet, but that felt good.
All right. Last joke for you. I've developed a new side gig where I make scoundrel RPG characters and sell them to different groups. You might call me a rogue trader.
There's something there. There's a little bit too much fat on that joke, but there's something there.
So I gotta end things off with a Warhammer piece. Warhammer 40,000 quietly announced. First of all, Warhammer never does anything quietly. Announced a wide reprint of its first ever rulebook. Warhammer 40,000 is going back to its miniature wargames roots by reprinting the very first rulebook for a limited time. It's made available as part of a print-on-demand physical book for part of their 40th anniversary deal. So
it's pretty cool.
Now,
Collectors are gonna love it.
Granted,
very much.
Technically this is already closed, the window. I still wanted to talk about it because I bought this.
Oh, we missed the window?
Yeah, it's
I
October
actually consider
14th through
it,
the 23rd. It would have been. It was like back when
It would have been perfect if I didn't screw up your schedule. I'm sorry.
No, it actually worked out because the next show wouldn't have worked anyways because we didn't have a guest, and also I was moving. So
There you
If you ever need to scrape the bottom, I'm here for you.
go. Also, Also, Chris wasn't able to get that information out there, so he got his copy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
There-
how we're
I
doing this.
see that's what it was.
Yep, exactly. So 288 pages, Rogue Trader will feel like a fairly standard entry in its massive portfolio of published books, but the interior doesn't quite match the military sci-fi war game we know today. That's actually true from what I've heard. That the first version of 40K was more of an RPG than it was,
Yeah.
a tabletop minis game. So it was first released in 1987 as a counterpart to Games Workshop's existing Warhammer Fantasy Battle line. Rick Priestley reportedly wrote the majority of the book along with Andy Chambers, along with input from other designers within the company. Yeah, it leaned more into the roleplay element of 40K's world as opposed to the dice rolls and measuring tapes that modern audiences understand. Players embody the eponymous rogue traders, trusted mercenaries hired by the Imperium to scout new planets with a contingent of Marines in tow. Yeah, so this
You
used
have
to.
my Rogue Trader RPG book over there.
I have it, or no, I don't have Rogue Trader. I have, I think I have other ones. I have Dark Heresy. That's the one I have. Same
Dark
system.
Heresy's fun.
Um,
Yeah.
They so they had this for a long time. You could only get this if you went to Warhammer World in England. You could pick up like a reprinted version of the book, but for the based on what I've seen. But
Have you guys ever been there to Warhammer?
no,
World?
I want to.
I have not. This isn't me trying to slip in a brag or something. It's on my bucket list. But like just the photos they have of
Yeah.
like the 20-foot battle scene that they make, like it's crazy.
There's like a life-size rhino out front I've seen. And then also, by the way, there's a game coming out, Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader, which I've heard some people compare to Baldur's Gate 3, actually. Like what Baldur's Gate 3 is to D&D is supposed to be like, Warhammer to Rogue Trader for this new computer game.
Another isometric RPG.
Another
that's
one.
That's my Steam wish list. I tried playing Inquisitor, which is kind of like their Diablo, I guess, their action RPG. I didn't enjoy that one too much. They pump out so many video games.
They do. Well, because they
some
don't.
are good though.
They don't pump them out. What they do is they just give the license to anyone that has an idea, and they pump out the games. Like they had that Dark Tide that I've talked about in some of our bonus bits stuff, where it's basically just Left 4 Dead but 40K.
Yeah. Oh, they had a same team, Fat Shark. They made Tide as well, which is the
fantasy version.
Warhammer fantasy folks, where you're going through a city that's overrun with Skaven, right? And then this is the 40K version of it, and they just had a full class revamp where they introduced talent trees,
I heard
and
about
a bunch
that.
of balance changes, and it's really good, you guys. It's real good. It's a lot of fun. I may or may not have put several hours in this weekend between house projects. Another one that came out with recently too, Bolt Gun.
Oh yeah,
you heard of that one?
I went to I wanted to try it, but I couldn't over the graphics because it leans very much.
You can adjust the graphics a little bit. You can make it like real pixelated, or you can smooth it out so it's more stylistic. And that one was a lot of fun. It gave me memories of the Quake days, Quake 2.
Oh, all right. Now you're getting me. Now you're getting me excited. The days of like Unreal Tournament. All right.
They don't make again, just three old guys chatting. They don't make games like that. I mean, there's probably a reason they don't make.
They do. They do. It's just called.
Overwatch is technically an arena shooter, isn't it? Right? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was trying Fortnite. They just make Fortnite now. That's someday the kids will be like, they don't make Fortnite like they used to.
The thing in Fortnite is what really excited me about that was the PvE thing that they were working on as the core game, but they released the version that is what they are now. What was that?
Battle
Is it an
Royale.
arena shooter? Is that what it is? Battle Royale. There it is.
Yeah.
They released the Battle Royale as kind of like a stopgap. Like,
Yeah.
Here, we'll make a little bit of money while we finish working on this, the actual game, and then that thing that I was super excited for got trashed
Like, oh,
because they found the machine that prints money. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. With that, let's Philip, why don't you tell everybody about our Patreon?
Patreon.com/boards-and-swords, boards-and-swords.com/Patreon. That's going to get you where you want to go. Okay. No, it's going to get you where you need to go. All right. This is not a want. This is a need. Okay. You need food. You need shelter. You need boards and swords. That's what you got to have in your life. We got tons of great stuff on there. All right. If you back us, just back us. Back us at the minimum level. You get access to special channels in the Discord. You get access to the bonus bits. All right. That's where Chris and I we just shoot the shit. And we put all the crazy things we talk about off camera in there, and you get to hear our thoughts on how Munchkin is the best game on the planet, slivers are the best card in Magic, all that kind of stuff. I mean,
You're
Chris has opinions
you're not
too,
doing
but
a good
whatever.
job of selling this, by the way.
What's that? What? I'm sorry, Chris has opinions,
it's
but they're
very
not.
bawdy. They work very blue in the exercise.
Yeah. You back us a little bit more. Chris is gonna give you the best worst dad jokes about your game. All right, your favorite game on the planet. Chris is gonna roast it, and
I'm gonna make it no longer your favorite.
It's so bad, it's good. All right. Every so often, you get your boards and swords D6. All right, put those in your game. Chris has them weighted so they always roll ones. So you're gonna throw them into your dice jail. All right, it's perfect. And then the piece de resistance. All right, Chris, if you could throw that up on the screen.
Oh
there.
no, I'm not gonna throw that. I forgot.
Oh,
to
you're not gonna throw it up on the screen?
Oh wait, give me like. Hold on. If you're gonna pull my ears on this one.
Describe it in like heavy detail. Have the listeners close your eyes while he describes. We'll do mind's eye theater right now.
If we can hit the sweet point, all right, there will be a live playthrough of Goodman Games Valentine's Day module Love Mutants of Castle Heartache. All right, this is going to be an epic playthrough. We're gonna have all your back boards and dirt bags of holding. There we go, dirt bags of holding characters. Up on the screen right there. I was your model for that cover. All right, you are welcome.
You got that eye stare down.
Oh yeah, I do. It's absolutely amazing. And that's what you get.
And just as a tidbit, I've got right here. This is a it's a horror mega dungeon, basically a haunted house mega dungeon from Monte Cook Games called The Darkest House, and it's kind of a test piece of doing some of these live plays. I'm going to use this because you can bring this into any setting or any characters into it. We're going to run this as the Dirtbag All-Stars, where everybody plays their favorite RPG character they've ever run, and they all have to escape out of this house all together. Some playing Star Wars characters, some playing D&D characters, etc., etc.
I'm going to bring all of my characters.
just
and
to
then
fleet
as they progressively die.
Yeah. So
they wake up in the other body with their memories.
Exactly. We're gonna quantum leap these characters.
Tokyo.
Yes, exactly. That's the thing. Exactly.
For even more chaos, we should have the characters use their game system.
That's
All
why
right.
there's a separate system that you use to convert your characters, but yeah, because otherwise
it'll be Chris's
I rolled
Sarav
2
running D&D.
triumphs, 1 despair.
All right, well, you had a challenge rating of 10, so
Do 3 6s hit?
It's gonna be what's that asymmetrical game where all the characters play a different?
Are you talking about Root?
Yes, Root.
Or Netrunner, for that matter.
Or yeah, so we'll run it just like Root. All right, like Sarav will run D&D. I'll have one of my guys running Fantasy Flight. Someone can run
All
what
right,
was that game?
everybody
we played?
do
We were
their
all-
initiative step.
Let's go.
All
This
right.
reminds me
I
of
got a triumph. I got a nat 20.
This reminds me of an adventure that I wanted to run. It's kind of a bait and switch where you start off in a traditional medieval fantasy. It's kind of an isolated kingdom. There's only one religion. You can only be humans. But there's mystical elves in the forest and savage orcs that you got to battle. You keep it one town, one castle, city, whatever. For like the first 5 to 10 levels, so everybody gets really invested, and then the black ships descend, and you realize that, and then everybody's scripted into the Imperial Guard, and then you play in a final one shot, as they were all actually just in a feudal world cut off from the Emperor of Mankind.
That's reminds
Nice.
me of the TikTok where it's like, you there, you listening to this post, you're now in the Imperial Guard.
Yeah.
But enough of other people's games. Let's get back into talking about Floodgate Games. Or I guess we could start.
Alright.
Why not?
We could start with just kind of your backstory as far as getting into games. What got you into this hobby?
Story of me starting in games was seeing a Facebook post that a friend of a friend posted and going, "F it, I like board games." A company was hiring. I actually went to school. I wanted to be in medicine, and I was working in biomedicine, and I was getting real burnt out. And I saw that Facebook post that Fantasy Flight Games was hiring, and I was like, let's change things up. Lots of weird life things happened that we don't need to get into detail. But about 10 years ago, I started Fantasy Flight Games with organized play. We had some cool games, X-Wing and Netrunner, that really built that program. And then I mentioned Catan. I started working with them and Z-Man Studios, Days of Wonder a little bit during the Asmodee merger, right? So I started working with all these other studios. Went out on my own after a restructuring shakeup with and did freelancing for a few years with some other marketing professionals. They started a friend of mine, Kira. She started a company called Off Duty Ninja, and they specialize in marketing services for tabletop companies. And they are great. And then Ben with Floodgate was one of their clients, and after working for a while, he said that he needed somebody full time. For the past 3+ years, I have been the head of marketing for Floodgate Games. So that was a weird, long, convoluted way to say that I've been in several companies, much like other people in marketing and board games.
Yeah, it seems to be a thing. It's always interesting when I get like as a media person, you get like the press release. It's like, this person is now over at this game. It's like, oh hey, I know them. They used to be at that other company. And it's like you mentioned Off Duty Ninja, and I was like, oh, I know that company. Nobody else in the like your average board gamer is not going to know that company, but like content creators are going to be like, oh yeah, I know that company.
Hopefully, content creators and other studios that need services. They've got a great team. I enjoyed working with them a lot over the past years. But yeah, and then the first thing I worked on with Ben for Floodgate was the Vivid Memories Kickstarter. That was a fun project. The developing the components for that game, like it's such a tactile, like such a and yeah, we've got, I don't know, I talked about games early on.
Yeah.
What do you want me to say?
I did have. All right.
It's a fun game. We're a fun Minnesota-based company. There's just a few of us, and ready, or we'll soon make one of your favorite games. We've got some exciting stuff in the pipeline over the next few years.
Well, I'm curious. One thing that we didn't bring up. You talked about Sagrada, but I want to talk about Sagrada Artisans, mainly because that legacy thing's become real big right now. But Sagrada Artisans is a legacy version of Sagrada, and I don't know how that works.
It does. It actually just got this weekend the Dice Tower Seal of Excellence for
Ooh.
people who care about awards, right? But it's getting some good reviews, which is great because we worked really hard on it over several years. And first secretly announced that in a newsletter with just the logo, like 3 years before it was released, and the logo then was Sagrada Legacy, and then like it said like coming Gen Con, like 2.5 years before we actually brought it up. So that was pretty funny. But yeah, so again, I talked about Sagrada a little bit earlier. It's a game where you're drafting colorful, translucent dice and putting them in your player board, which represents a stained glass window. There's different window cards that have your placement restrictions, different levels of challenges. You have tools that you can use to kind of break the rules a little bit, manipulate some things on your board, moving dice around or flipping the values. You're working towards public objectives and private objectives to score points, right? Depending on the different components you play with, it can be a very casual, I'm working on my board, you're working on your board game, or like if you add some of the stuff from the latest expansion, it ramps this up a little bit more in Glory, is the competitive aspect. So it's like, I need to get to this first so I get the points and you don't, and that sort of thing. In Sagrada Artisans, you're going to play as a stained glass window artisan from a family of artisans that has been invited to work on the Sagrada Familia. And you're going to be playing different characters over several generations. And you have a family journal, which has each of the different game windows in it with their own bits of the story and objectives and stuff. But instead of placing dice, you're still drafting them, and then you're coloring in the spaces. And what's fun about that is that it really opens up the placement puzzle for people who enjoy that aspect of Sagrada. And so you're not constrained to a grid anymore. We have like there's one window that's a dove, another that's like has like a sunburst coming through, and so it's really fun to play with all the different shapes and combinations there.
Oh, here we go.
As you play through the game,
There's
you'll
one that's like
be
a skull
you
and a little.
Oh, a Skull on the Raven. Yeah, during
Yeah.
the Kickstarter, we had a contest for window design contest, and that was one of the ones that won. And we created another booklet of windows. When you're done with the campaign, if you still want to play the game, it's like 96 more windows in the box. And 12 of the designs were from the Kickstarter backers who won that. So it's like a raven on a skull. There's another one that's a campfire. It's really cool. But as you're playing through the campaign, you'll be like any good legacy game, putting on a bunch of stickers, adding rules, destroying stuff. You can collect your own tools that nobody else gets. As you use them, they become more refined, but also more fragile because they're getting older, so they can break. So it's this nice push your luck mechanic there. There's a bunch in the box that I can't really get into too much without spoilers. But yeah, for people who like Sagrada games or like legacy games, it scratches those itches really well. So that one came out this past Gen Con as well. And yeah, it's good. It's like a 6-pound box, too.
Jeez.
Awesome.
One of the Kickstarter stretch goals that Ben thought of doing was making the whole box foil and shiny. And then when he got the sample in, he's like, I'm just gonna make them all this. So it's this big foil shiny box. It's pretty cool.
And then I'm actually surprised that even with the legacy bits, it's still 45 to 60 minutes for each game. That's for a legacy game. That's kind of impressive.
Yeah. Well, Sagrada plays in about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on the game you're playing, right? So the puzzles get more challenging, so there's a little bit more thinking on your turn as the game progresses because you have more options, but there's also more restrictions that you need to account for. And so yeah, we played through the entire campaign a couple times before it went to print in a weekend where we sat down and we played through the first 5 on Saturday and the next 5 on Sunday. And it was a lot. Don't get me wrong, to play in 2 days, but it doesn't outstay its welcome, I guess, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
There's
makes
so many
sense.
games where it's on the table and you're like, well, this was fun up until this point, and we've got like 3 more turns.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Awesome. Well, unless you got other things to talk about, I think it might be time to dig into
I
some.
think I mentioned everything. Our next release is Skyrockets, which is a very beautiful game. I don't know why I've been grabbing games as I've been talking about them. But it's
Ooh.
like Kites, which is a real-time cooperative game where you're playing cards with sand-timers. We took that mechanic and slapped 30 unique events that add different restrictions and win conditions. So it's Kites meets The Crew, if those 2 games had a baby. It's real-time cooperative, goal focused.
Seems to be
I guess,
very
if that's a
popular
term.
these days.
Yeah, we did a pre-release at Essen Spiel with this. We're gonna have a limited number at PAX Unplugged here in just under a month in December in Philadelphia, and then its official release will be in January.
Yeah, I was hearing somebody talk about PAX Unplugged, and I was like, that's a ways off. And then I realized, oh no, that is under a month away.
The
Yeah.
end of the year just ramps up in speed.
Steamrolls.
Like I don't know where October went. It's gonna be Christmas tomorrow.
Dang it, I gotta go shopping for gifts then.
Right? Just rewrap the things they didn't play with last year.
Oh,
that
speaking of which,
time,
by the
time
way,
is so skewed right
Ashley found this at Ollie's. It's a World of Warcraft escape room box. Talk about things that nobody
Nice.
played. That's why it was at Ollie's. Man, you can find some real there's a lot of off-ball stuff at Ollie's too, but every now and then they get in like something really good.
What is Ollie's?
Do you know what Big Lots is?
I also don't know what
Okay.
that is.
It's one of those
Are these regional stores?
maybe.
Could be, yeah.
It's a wholesaler where they just like buy lots of stuff that haven't sold from other companies. You know, when
Oh.
people have like overstock of things, they sell them off to. And Ollie's is just one of
Worked at our local thrift store, and somebody brought in either unopened or like they were opened, but they very quickly closed the box and just left it on a shelf of a Romulan Warbird
Oh, no.
and the Enterprise D.
Ooh.
That's
Yeah. And I was like, oh, sweet. Got off of work, raced over there. Yeah, they're already gone. I was like, you couldn't.
your friend didn't like put them away for you? He's like
I
former friend, I think.
No, because they put it away for themselves.
her a new
That's why it's gone.
That's why it's gone. I was just recently speaking of childhood toys, I found the Ewok Village
Oh no.
at like a
Oh,
you guys remember the Ewok Village? My mom sold that in a garage sale without asking me.
Oh.
And
Oh.
it's enough of a painful memory that I'm talking about it on a podcast.
It still stings, Mom.
yeah.
It still hurts, Mom.
The quality of nursing home has been downgraded severely.
Like,
You know, I would have
it's
been
like,
able
it's a collectible now, Mom.
I would have been able to afford something better if you'd only kept. That's one of those things. It's like they always said, like, what happened to all those figures? Because it's like I don't remember throwing them away.
Uh-huh.
But
They're
at the
either in
same,
a box in the attic somewhere, or
Probably.
she sold them in a garage sale.
probably the so yeah. Speaking of which, by the way, I was in Target. You want to talk about old toys coming back? I was at Target yesterday or the other day, and they had the Batman the Animated Series Bat Cycle, the one that like you would pull back and let go and it would go riding. They had that
Okay.
back in like the area with like the Funko collectibles. There's that one section where they do like the
There's the animated series brand.
yeah
That show still holds up.
yeah
Like, I think it's on Max.
yeah.
Right? HBO Max, whatever. I started watching it just on like last year on my lunch breaks. I go work from home. And so I'd leave my dungeon of an office and I'd go upstairs and I'd watch a cartoon while I had a sandwich or whatever. And I started watching that show again, just be like, oh, what's on here? I bet it's kind of campy and cute, and it is campy, but it's like, man, this holds up. This is good.
Yeah.
It's not like when I went back to watch Thundercats. I almost had a seizure. It's like, what is happening? There's no narrative. What is going on?
Especially like when you grow up as an adult and find out like they drew that entire show on dark paper, like black. They drew it up from black paper to get like that's how they got the look they did. Is they started on black paper, and that's how they drew this.
It's super cool.
Yeah,
that's a really interesting. You said that as like, this is some stupid thing I know that nobody cares about, but that's awesome.
It's just, and then like once you know that, and then you go back and watch, you're like, I see it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Did you just ruin this? Who am I kidding? You can't ruin Thundercats.
No, no. I was talking about. Sorry, I was talking about Batman. I was talking about the Batman.
Oh, Batman. Okay. It's still cool.
Yeah.
Dark Knight, dark paper. All right, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. They did it as a joke.
Yeah, there's a joke in there somewhere. I'm not focusing enough to figure it out, or even for a bad one. All right, so before we close out the show here for a little bit, I do, because it's only appropriate that we play a little bit of Everything Ever, with someone from the company. How often do you get that opportunity, aside from being at Gen Con? I'm even going to open up
things. I'm not good at things. So.
That's perfect. Then you're in the right community then. So, by the way, I will say that I love that the judge card when something's not appropriate. It says I'll allow it, but watch yourself, counselor.
Those were such silly cards and they were in there from basically day one when the game was pitched to us. Yeah, the courtroom themed judge cards, which are basically your yellow and your red card for.
Oh yeah.
Those of our listeners from over the pond, for your warning and your penalty. But,
all right. Yeah. So, like I said, there's the normal way. I mentioned this briefly in the pre-show, but there's the normal way of playing it. We're going to modify it slightly different to make it better for audio. And that normally you would go round robin, everybody naming something that meets one of these two category. It meets one or other. Bonus points if you get both. But instead, we're just going to see how long we can go before we hit that awkward spot where nobody knows it says anything. So, not necessarily in order. Just if you have something to just speak up. But let's start off here. First, we have every company with an initial in its name, and every band or musician with a number in their name. So
Jesus Christ.
I'll start off with J.C. Penney.
Damn it.
Let's see, band.
BJ's.
BJ's. Oh, that's a good one. We talked about
KB Toys.
I was about to say we were just talking about KB Toys.
Ah, gotcha. There it is.
Yeah, gotcha back. Yeah. So, sadly, I don't think we could do a band and a company. Well, I mean, could you say that like a band is a company?
I'll allow, but watch yourself, John.
All right, I'm gonna get us some new ones. Every cable network and every Sesame Street character. This one can be kind of for both categories. It kind of depends on when did you grow up and watch Sesame Street?
Right.
Grover.
What was that?
Oh, you said Grover.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then what was the other question?
The every cable network. It's like Nickelodeon, TNT.
Well, there you go, Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Comedy Central.
Spike.
Oh.
G4 TV.
Spike.
Tech TV.
TNT.
It's not-
Actually, TNT turned into Spike.
Did it?
It did.
I thought it was something else. It was like TNN or something like that.
Or TNT. Somebody turned into Spike.
Yeah. Because TNT is its own thing. Because like TNT knows drama.
That's right.
Do they?
That was their slogan for a long.
TLC?
TLC.
Valerian Channel?
That it? Yeah.
Valerian Channel where
How it's
But then
fallen.
they sold out yeah, to like 19 kids and counting.
Now it's
what
just
are
like
we learning?
No, it doesn't stand for anything. It's just TLC. Then you got like the History Channel, MTV,
MTV2, MTV3,
ESPN2, ESPN3.
ESPN8, The Ocho.
Jinx.
You're out of order.
No, those aren't cable. Those are
and then you got
streaming
like
services. They're different from cable.
Elmo
Although, yeah,
and Big Bird.
Mall.
HBO, Cinemax, Stars.
Oh yeah, we've just been doing the one card.
Well, we keep it's we've been getting ones that don't cross over very well, so it's hard to do both.
Yeah.
I'm gonna dig through a little bit.
The count. What? Oh, dang
You
it!
don't,
What
you
did I
want to
see?
do this in like round robin order, where one of us is actually put on the spot, or we?
No,
lose?
because I found that when that happens, you just freeze up and can't think of anything. So free
Oh,
form
yeah,
work.
that's
Well, yes.
that's when you start counting down.
Hey,
5,
Freeform. That's a
4.
network.
Yeah, it works in the actual game. It just for audio. We'll see. We got every rapper and every song with a car in it.
Too short.
See, this is the
And
problem. Is like you can say
DJ
things.
Betty.
You can say things, and I'm not gonna know. like I might say Tech Nine,
Never heard-
and people are gonna be like, "What? What is that? Did you just make that up?"
There's a rapper named Tech Nine.
Yeah, there is.
There is. Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
2 Chains.
Two
with a Z.
Chains.
Is that one?
Little Pump.
Little Pump.
Lil Yachty.
Wayne.
I don't even know I only know these from like watching other people talk about them.
Man, you start listening to some more hip hop.
I was gonna say we should do like.
I do, but I listen to like 90s and 2000s hip hop.
I was about to be like,
Dr.
here we
Dre.
are, 3 white guys commenting about real rappers.
As in like a bad or real
you know,
rapper. I
you
mean,
got,
is that an actual person?
Dr. Dre, Jay-Z,
Yeah.
Tupac, Biggie.
I'm not gonna.
I actually can't think of that many
debate the
songs with
merits of
cars in it,
anyone's
though.
favorite.
Songs
Right,
with
like
cars
Cadillac.
in them.
The song with a
Yeah.
car in it.
Okay.
I mean, anything with Bruce Springsteen, right? He mentioned a Chevy and something, right? Something about Turnpike, New Jersey. Little Red Corvette.
That was the
from
yes.
Minnesota here.
I just keep going back to Yellow Submarine. I'm like, that's not a car.
That's not a car.
That's not a car.
Take the penalty card. Next category.
I'm out of order. All right, we'll do one more here. Let's see. Ooh, everything with wings and everything that has a handle.
Airplane.
Damn it.
That works for both.
That works for both.
Hang glider.
Ah.
Just a wing and a handle.
Buffalo.
Tom Cruise's character Maverick.
That's a good one. Like a pilot. Yeah. I'm just gonna go with the buffalo.
Buffalo wings.
Uh,
Part of the
Buffalo Wild Wings has wings and a
There you go.
handle.
Does it have a handle? Like the door of it.
The
does.
door does.
Door. Yeah.
The
But
building
but
itself.
Buffalo Wild Wings is a brand.
The restaurant Buffalo Wild Wings has wings and a hand, more than one handle.
Like the specific restaurant. Again, we're arguing. So I'm sorry.
I feel that's a yellow card.
Like a handle of Buffalo Trace count.
Oh. There you go, like a handle of Jack.
You were talking about buffaloes, not
Buffaloes
Things
with
with wings. That was one too many steps removed.
Too many degrees of separation.
All right. Well, there you go. You get a little bit of the gist of the obnoxiousness that can result. We played this. This was great for. I would tell you, the first time I played this was literally the Gen Con airport because we got there like 2 hours before our flight, like you do, and just sitting.
It's a great travel game.
Yeah.
I've talked to people who like play it on road trips, where person in the passenger seat just pulls a couple cards, and then everybody in the car plays because you don't have to have a board or anything. It's all
right
up here, the gameplay.
And then also it's not one of those where like if you're complete like you might be too brain burnt to play an actual game, but this is just naming stuff. So it's not
Everybody
like
knows something about everything.
yeah, I know a little bit, a lot of bits.
Yep.
So, all right. I thank you so much, E. I know it's been kind of a chaotic mess here, but thank you so much for
I feel that you prepared me.
Yeah,
in advance.
that's why we hit you with the jokes early.
I mean,
So-
my floor is a chaotic mess. So.
Where should people go to pay attention to what else new that Floodgate Games has got going on?
You can go to floodgate.games or floodgategames.com. See our latest games, what's available. We're on all the social medias at Floodgate Games, one word. We're at most major gaming conventions in states, at least. And we have a few overseas, but I imagine that the majority of your audience is stateside. Next convention will be PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia the weekend of December 1st. And we'll have some fun games there. Look for the balloons. I'm pretty sure we'll do a big arch of balloons over the booth.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
That's fun.
Is that to the new what was the new one you were showing off?
Oh, we're gonna be showing off Skyrockets.
Skyrockets,
as the
yes.
new pre-release at PAX Unplugged. Yeah, well, Forgot Artists in there as well, and all of our games will be there and in stock.
Awesome. All right. With that, Philip, I think it's time to. Well, normally we'd roll that beautiful beam footage, but I don't have the audio set up.
That's been our show, everybody. If you like what we're doing, you got to check out boardsandswords.com/live. That's going to have the schedule. And then just boardsandswords.com is going to have links to social media and the different streaming channels.
All right. Send us some feedback. We love it. You can email us at feedback@boardsandswords.com. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/boardsandswordspod, or over on Instagram. I'm at boardsandswordschris. But like Philip said, boardsandswords.com's got the links to everything we do, like the Patreon. We were, brand new setup and everything. So we were shooting the shit as Philip said earlier, and we recorded it, and it'll be sent out to our patrons. It's up on YouTube right now, but I'm gonna private it and send it out to just our patrons because they get the good stuff like that. And in the meantime, if you want to help support the show, they head on down over there. And we'll be back next week, actually. We're a little thrown off our schedule. We'll be back next week with another show. Philip, we got one of the authors behind Star Trek Adventures, Jim Johnson, going to be on the show.
Sweet.
Yeah, from Modifius. So in the meantime, remember that every gamer has a story. And this one was just a little weird with some random emptiness space with bad internet. Hopefully that was all it was. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
And the show strong.
That's right.